I've been re-bailed. I didn't have to go to the police station for the bail call. Not just local elections, Nick. Got a couple of other important things going on. Got the mayoral races, of course, and of course the big one, the absolute big one, is the new MP up there in Runcorn.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's amazing returning guest is Foxy from Silver Fox Hot Takes. How you doing, Foxy?
Well, hi, yeah, hello everybody. Anyone who's watching, thanks for coming along and watching us. It's great to be back. Do so enjoy our little chats there, Nick. We sometimes talk about some odd things, and then sometimes, like today, we're going to be talking about very important things, I think.
I think we are. Well, before we get into the important topic we're going to talk to today, quick couple of seconds. Where are you with the police? The police came for you a couple of months ago, arrested you for putting videos online. Absolutely disgraceful. Nothing wrong with those videos. A little bit of joking, a little bit of this, a little bit of ivory, a little bit of humour. They're taking it all the wrong way. Where are you up to with that?
Well, I've been re-bailed. I didn't have to go to the police station for the bail call. My solicitor rang them. God, was it last Thursday? Yeah, last Thursday. And just to ensure to see what was going to be happening. And they said, no, it's going to be a re-bail. So then that's another 3-month bail, effectively. She's going to find out if it is the full 3 months or if there is going to be a turn-up date. I haven't heard anything yet, I'm presuming, because even they don't know. So, we're there. So I've got another 3 months before I hear anything. Now, you may or may not be aware, but just for any viewers who are not aware, when you get bailed, there's certain, how can we put this, levels. So when you're initially done, you just get bailed out by the custody sergeant. So that was my release, 3 months ago. I'm now being re-bailed, which means it requires an inspector to sign off on this bail. If I get bailed again, it has to be signed off by a superintendent. So you're getting up into the upper echelons there, senior policing. And if it gets bailed again, it has to be by a magistrate. But you cannot be bailed after that, because if they go for a bail after that, it's deemed too long, and justice cannot be seen to be done, because swift justice and all that. So you can't be bailed. You can't be re-bailed more than 3 times. You can be bailed, and you can be re-bailed up to 3 times, and then that's it. And if the end of 3 times, they can't prosecute you effectively. So that's where we are. So at the moment, I don't know what is happening, but I am hopeful. We've gone over, and I can't obviously go into details too much, but we've gone over the section 4A, which is what they're trying to get me on. And there's so many problems with them prosecuting me on that from what's been in the content of my videos, that I think one of the problems is they're desperately getting for me to admit intent, and I never admitted intent. So basically, they can go F themselves, because I'm never, ever going to admit it. I'm going to go innocent all the way. So there we are. That's where we are. And hope in me heart, a smile on my face.
Yeah, I'd rephrase that if I was you. You're not going to admit it. You're not pleading not guilty.
No, I'm going not guilty all the way.
Because there was nothing to plead anyway.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is a politically initiated attack on your freedom of speech.
Absolutely, it is.
Absolutely disgraceful what they're doing. And the reason why most senior police officers have to sign off your bail as it goes up the chain is because they want to ensure that someone's held accountable, because they don't want to get to a stage where anyone can just bail and that's the punishment, is being on bail. You're being punished now by being on bail. There's conditions on your bail. There's conditions when anyone's bailed, and that's part of the punishment. It's to make sure you do as you're told next time. Otherwise, we may not be able to prosecute you, but we'll inconvenience you for 6 months, mate.
Yeah. Toe the line. Yeah.
Well, once we finalize that, I'll be straight on the line to you, and we'll be doing a video about what went on and what you can talk about then.
Yeah. I'll happily come out, and we'll do a full post-mortem, if you will, on the whole thing. Yeah.
Free the Foxy one. That's what I'll be. That's what I'll be shouting. Right, today's topic. There's only one topic today. It's Wednesday. It's the 30th of April. It's the day before.
It's Crackerjack.
It's Crackerjack. No, it's not 5 to 5 yet. And it's local elections tomorrow. Limited local elections.
Well, not just local elections, Nick. Got a couple of other important things going on. Got the mayoral races, of course, and of course the big one, the absolute big one, is the new MP up there in Runcorn. I wonder who it will be.
Start with that. Let's start with that. What do you think is going to happen?
Runcorn, then.
What do you going to think is going to happen in Runcorn now that Rocky Balboa has lost his seat for punching someone, and now there's a by-election because poor old Rocky, Mike Ainsby, who I know, who I used to sit in meetings with when I worked at Manchester Council, who came across as a very nice man, but he punched a constituency. He's now been, he's had to resign because he got a criminal record. He didn't have to resign, but he resigned, forced a by-election. What's going to happen tomorrow there?
Well, it's very difficult to call because he had a 14,500 majority. Big majority. One of the biggest majorities in the House as it happened. If Reform win, and they are the only challenger, they were second at the general election, but 14,000 behind, and that's a huge number to turn over. But if Reform win, then I think there's going to be squeaky bum time throughout the Labour Party, because if you're turning over a 14,000 odd majority, and then you look at the number of people in the Labour Party sitting there on the government side whose majorities are less than 14,000, or in fact probably more, because if, let's say, you get 1,000 the other way, and there's 1,000 vote majority for Reform, they're all going to be sitting there going, we can't possibly win. They're only going to be really, really worried. And we're talking cabinet members as well. There's cabinet members that aren't on that kind of majority. They'll all be sitting there thinking, we're screwed. And then they'll all look round at one man. And I think that will make him virtually untenable in his position if they lose big. I still think there is a chance that the Labour candidate will win, but it's going to be scraping over the line, skin of your teeth. And even then, that's still worrying for the Labour Party. They might have saved the seat, but if you're going to lose 13,000 majority down to, an 1,100 majority or something, still very, very worrying for them. So that's the big one. That's the big one.
It is, and we need to remember what 99% of all politicians want, and that's to be re-elected. Most politicians do not even agree with the policies they're trying to sell the public. They just want to be re-elected to keep on the gravy train. MPs now are on £95,000 a year. I mean,
plus expenses, so they're well over 100.
Yeah, I mean, I've never earned anywhere near that in my whole life. I mean, that would be a dream wage for me. So you can imagine someone who's had no career, who's only been interested in politics, who, says the right things, does the right things for the party, finally getting their chance, winning a seat. And then they realize, I'm gone at the next election. But there might be a saving grace if we can get rid of the captain of the Titanic, which is Keir Starmer, and maybe someone, people are thinking, maybe, depending what part of the party you're from, people will be thinking, Angela Rayner, she's hard left, that's what would win the country. Wes Streeting, he's Mr. Nice and he's very clean. And then don't forget the King of the North, Andy Burnham. Can we put out a call for Andy Burnham to come rescue us and save my seat? That's what they'll be thinking if they lose this seat tomorrow.
Well, the funny thing is, those three you've mentioned all are on manoeuvres, aren't they? And just look at what's been happening recently. Just start with Wes Streeting, only because he's the easiest one to sort of get rid of. He has, though, been putting himself out there and making comments and making things there. But I think really he's a non-starter. He's too young, too inexperienced. He's not popular with, quote, the people. He's very objectionable. And he just comes across as being a bit a bit too keen and a bit too eager. He's undoubtedly ambitious, and I would suggest he might not be the leader this time, but I think might be the next leader, after whoever takes over is there. He'll have had a few more years' experience and got a bit older, maybe. And a bit more public exposure, maybe. Not this time. However, which way should we go with this? Let's do Andy Burnham. Let's do King of the North first. He this week has been saying things like, let's abandon the 1.5 million homes. Let's concentrate on a realistic number like 500,000 and ensure that they're built. Nice line. Two things. One, he's showing a level of realism. Let's do something we can do. And secondly, he's countermanding what the leadership are saying. So he's quite, about the 1.5 million houses. So he's quite clear that he's challenging the leadership. And of course, he keeps doing this, and it's not the first time. So I think he's saying, I'm going to run for leader of the party without actually saying I'm going to run for leader of the party. So yeah, absolutely, Burnham is going to be there. And I think for many in the party, he would be the more acceptable one of all of them, really. However, I want to finish with the Growler. She come out this week and basically threw Starmer under the bus. There's been a book by Lord Ashcroft. I don't know if you've heard about this. Doing the biography of Starmer and basically eviscerating him and saying the most awful things about him. And then Angela Rayner in the same week comes out and says, well, she's threatened to resign 4 or 5 times over many things, but mainly over the housing. And she's had to get told, they've had to get Tony Blair on the phone to her to try and convince her to stay and this, and that, and the other. And she's now being backed by Blair. And this is very weird. She's obviously a Corbynista and has got the backing of all the hard left of the party. And now Blair is backing her. But New Labour Blairites are backing her. So you've got to say, she is golden at the moment. She's got so much support from all sides of the party. But that whole thing about threatening to resign, and we always kept saying, she must surely now can't be done. Oh, turns out she did know it can't be done. And I actually did the apology video saying, taking it all back, and saying, well, okay, she's still terrible, but she's admitted it. I'll give her the benefit on this one. I think she has a good chance. Now, the only trouble is she's bloody awful. She's the worst. She's thick as 2 short planks. But hey, anyone's got to be better than Starmer. What do you think?
West Streeting, I don't know much about. I just know that he's coming across as the new golden boy. But is he ready yet? I use the word golden boy, not golden man. So is he ready yet to make that jump? I don't know. Andy Burnham, from my understanding, Starmer's team don't like Andy Burnham, see him as a huge threat, and they're working to stop him ever standing as an MP. Stopping him getting on any, the selections and things like that. And that makes perfect sense. Why would you want, if you were Julius Caesar, why would you want your Mark Antony getting elected and standing next to you in Parliament? He's a threat. So, yeah, and I'm sure Andy Burnham's got an eye on that. And he's probably actively working behind the scenes to do that. Rayner is popular in lots of circles for the things you said. She's also afflicted by her accent. So people automatically go, she's stupid. She may be stupid. She may not be stupid. I don't know. But
no, Nick. Yes, I agree that her accent doesn't help. But some of the things she comes out and says, she's undoubtedly stupid.
But many politicians can do that. I just think
there's 650 of them, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she suffers a little bit from classism, but that doesn't mean she's not stupid. She may be stupid, and she comes across as stupid. But I know the left of the party see her as the Corbyn replacement. Who else in there is anything like her? Who's in the cabinet? Who's at the top of the power? There's no one else like her there. So I think you're right. they're the three main people who potentially could be the next prime minister if things fall apart from tomorrow onwards. If Labour do terrible tomorrow, they're going to do bad anyway. If they do
they're going to do that.
if they do terrible, Starmer, I don't think Starmer will last a year.
No, I don't. Just want to just touch on your classism thing. I'm going to tell you now. When Dennis Skinner used to sit on his little corner chair out there, when Labour were in opposition for years, and there was Dennis Skinner. The thing is, I cannot abide Dennis Skinner's policies or his politics or anything like that. But I admired the man because he was tenacious and he stuck to his guns. But when it comes to class, he was as working class as they get. But I admired him, even though I disliked intensely everything he stood for. I admired Dennis Skinner, the man. So I don't think the classism so much, it matters so much as the perception. And of course, she tries to push that working class, and tries to say, oh, well, I work. No, she did 6 months working as a carer and then went straight in, and she's changed it time and time again. No, most of her job was as a union rep. Make no bones. All this, I was a carer for 13 years or 17 years or 5 years, because she keeps changing the story, and it's all bollocks, and that's all it is. But she's trying too hard to push her working class roots. She's a millionaire. Just admit it. You're a millionaire, love, But there we go. That's what that is. But yeah, as you're saying, though, sorry, go on.
I was going to say absolutely. And for not one moment was I accusing you of classism. I'm accusing many people in the press and other people around the country. I see it sometimes. I go, oh, no. Just because she sounds like that, you can't make assumptions. Make assumptions on what she says, not the accent of her saying it.
Yes, quite.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the big races?
So you're sitting there to me with that Northern Manchester Mancunian accent, but I don't immediately assume, oh, you're Mancunian, you're thick, you're stupid, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because you haven't said stupid things. That's the difference. It's not the manner in which things are spoken, it's the things that come out.
Exactly. Base people on the things they say, not the accent they say. And based on lots of things I've said, I probably am stupid. So
I'm dumb as an ox.
There's other big races going on tomorrow before we get to the council level. So Mayoral races. There's a Mayoral race in the Midlands.
Sorry?
There's one in the Midlands, there's one in the southwest or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually quite next to it because Northamptonshire, where I live, it shares a border with Lincolnshire. And when I say shares a border, it's 15 feet. That really, yeah. It's like literally 15 feet of border. But if it wasn't for that, Northamptonshire would be double landlocked. But because of that 15-foot border, we're just landlocked. But anyway, but yeah, so that's the Greater Greater Lincolnshire. Andrea Jenkin, and did you see the left crying into their porridge this week? They brought a court case against Andrea Jenkins. Oh, she can't stand. She's not allowed to stand. Blah 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 blah. Because she doesn't live in the constituency, and there is no requirement for a mayor to live in the constituency as a candidate. If she wins, she has to live there, but she has 6 weeks after the victory to move. She'll hire a house. It's not hard. But they were trying to say she can't stand. You know why they were pushing that? Because they know she's already won it. But she's leading by such a long way. So basically, that race is run, And what's the one down in the southwest, Bristol area, west of England? Mayor, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it is
the Greens have tied that one up apparently.
That'll be the Bristol area, but I'm thinking of the Devon, Cornwall, Somerset down there somewhere. The guy who funded UKIP, isn't he standing there?
Banks, Aaron Banks, yeah.
Any news on that? Do you know how he's doing there?
Apparently, that's really tight. That's going to go to the wire. Nobody's calling that one. But even if he's second and doesn't get it, depends how close he is. If he's very close, then it's still a warning shot across for the others. But yeah. But I think, but Bristol looks like they've got that one tied up with the Green candidate. Let's just say the rest of them, that the bottom left corner, as it were, too close to call. Although, where's the one that Labour are expected to get? Isn't there one up north somewhere? I can't remember now. I'm sure there's 4. And I think Labour are expected to get 1, but I can't remember where it is.
I can't remember. Yeah.
How important is that?
Yeah. Well, the fact it looks like Labour's already won, it means that's why we don't know about it, because no one's fighting for it, because it's like, no, exactly. And then tomorrow we have council elections in, I believe it's just England, only in certain areas.
Yeah, and then of course, obviously, the big story there is half of them have been, well, over half, haven't they, have been cancelled because democracy's a bugger. Don't want people to vote. My vote's out. Oh, what can we do? Oh, let's cancel them then. Very Stalinist, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm not kidding. It's exactly what he did when he came to power. Cancel the elections. I'm in charge. But of the ones having it, the Tories are going to be the big loser. Simply by dint of the fact that because it's a limited number of councils, it happens to be that they are predominantly Tory councils. There's a few Labour councils. So whatever happens, Tories are going to be the bigger winner. But Labour will lose as well. They will lose seats. But the Tories, I reckon, could be 500 seats down on a very limited number of votes. I mean, that's crazy numbers. I mean, what was it? Last year was the biggest turnaround in terms of losses at the general election the Tories have ever seen. And now it could be a massive loss here in the local elections. And it's just bad news, isn't it? Bad news after bad news for the Tories.
Do you foresee Reform UK winning any councils?
Yes, I do. 1 or 2. I don't think there'll be a huge number. I think they'll win a lot of seats, but whether to get overall control of a council is very, very hard. They may win 1 or 2.
Right.
What do you think?
I don't, taking control of a council, I don't know, because that is very difficult and can take several years to achieve that. And this is really their first year as a serious party, really. If they can, if they win 1 or 2 councils, I mean, that's huge, absolutely huge if they do that. Let's have a roundup of what we think is going to happen tomorrow. So my predictions would be this. I think on Friday, it'll be extremely clear that the only winner of all these elections was Reform UK. They're not going to win every seat by any means and stuff like that. But when you look at where all the parties stand now and where they stand on Friday afternoon, it'll be crystal clear that the only real winner was Reform UK. I think Labour are going to get punished because of Keir Starmer and the last 9-10 months in power. People remember the punishing of the pensions, the economy, almost going bankrupt, the Southport, the white working class who would vote Labour see him now as Stalin and what he did to protesters, and some of them are violent protesters over the Southport and stuff. There isn't any good news in the last 10 months that Labour can point to. So they're going to get a spanking. I've not met anyone who's forgiven the Tories yet, even though they say, I hate Labour, I'd never vote Reform. But I've heard no one say, so I'm going back to the Tories. The Tories will still get another spanking at this election. No one knows who they are, what they're for, what's going on. We've had no real apologies. We've had no real soul searching. With the party's still not admitted the mistakes it's made over 14 years and begged for forgiveness. And the person running the party was part of the government within those 14 years. And she's been appalling as this interim leader we've got. I think the Greens and the Lib Dems will do better than normal. I don't think they'll do, they won't be like Reform, but I think they'll suck up some of the Labour votes. The Greens will also suck up some of the Free Palestine votes because they've now jumped in bed with the Islamists and the Free Palestine people. So I think on Friday afternoon, Reform overall winners by a mile. Lib Dems and Greens, haven't they done well at these elections? And Labour and Tories both will get a spanking.
Absolutely agree. I think the biggest slice of the cake will be reform. Obviously, the Tories will be the big losers, as I say, by just dint of because of the way that the election is formed. But of course, how badly they do may have an effect on how long Kemi lasts. I don't know, I just not related to this, but I actually did the video on this. She had an open goal and she could have scored goal of the season, and then she opens her big stupid mouth and loses the game. You had the other day, Torsten Bell, who's Labour's pension guy, saying, "Oh, we need to get rid of the triple lock." All she had to do was stand and say, "We will guarantee the triple lock," and that would have been, hey, because the silver vote is worth an awful lot of votes in this country. Not Kemi. Oh no. Well, we'll keep it for now. For now. Honestly, woman, shut up. What is wrong with you? Where is your sense of political nous? And I think things like that and these bad election results, and with Jenrick definitely on manoeuvres, I don't think she's got long to go. I think this will be the catalyst to the end of Kemi Badenoch. What do you think?
I agree. Jenrick is slowly winning me over. Couldn't stand him before the election. I'm thinking you're just saying what we want to hear. I've heard this all my life from the Tories. But he's. I mean, I'm probably at 1.5% convinced now. But a few months ago I was at 0% convinced. So he's slowly chipping away and beginning to make me think of him in a slightly better light. But he's got a long way to go yet. Kemi with the triple lock thing. You're right. She didn't have to make any commitment what the Tories are going to do. All she had to say was, "Here we go again, Labour attacking pensioners. They've already removed the winter fuel allowance. Here we. Why do Labour always attack pension?" That's all she had to say. She'd have got a great headline. She's promised nothing. She's committed to nothing, but she's used it as an attack on Labour. But instead, she tells everybody, "Well, we're not going to keep it anyway." So
I know,
dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've always thought whoever became the next Tory leader would be an interim leader, because they got such a spanking and were hated so much that the next leader couldn't win people over. The next leader had to basically save the party from oblivion. That's what was the next job. It would be the leader after that, maybe, who people could look at and go, I might vote for them. So Kemi's job was always self-sacrifice. I don't know if she knew that or not, but for me, it was always self-sacrifice.
Yeah, Kemi Badenoch is the David Moyes of the Conservative Party, isn't she? The sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
She's in there to make whoever follows look really good.
And what do you think is going to be the biggest upset tomorrow?
Well, I want Runcorn to be the big one, and I'm hoping to God it is. But other than that, just numbers. Just keep slaughtering the numbers and get rid. And if you can hit 500, if 500 is the big target, 500 Tory councillors gone. Because not only is it embarrassing, but think of the money, because they all have to pay their little fees out of their income, don't they? So think of the money that's going to cost the Tory party. That's more an abject lesson, isn't it? Where's the money?
Last words from me is this to people who, for the election tomorrow. First of all, go out and vote. Make sure you vote. Even if it's for a party I don't like, make sure you go out and vote, because it's the only way you have a say. My second point is, don't vote for perfection. No political party has ever existed that's perfect. Go out and vote for the least worst party on offer, because that's the only choice you've got. And for me, it's Reform UK. I'll be, if I was voting tomorrow, if it was in my area, I'd be voting for Reform UK, not because they're perfect, not because I think they're going to change the world and save us all, but at this moment in time, they're the only game in town. They're the only ones who I think may deliver some sort of change. So they're my final words. You, Foxy?
Yeah, absolutely. Vote twice, vote 3 times, vote as many times as you can. Because some people will have several votes.
You're gonna get arrested again, Foxy.
No.
That's
Some people will have several votes because they'll be voting for a mayor and a council. Man, see, I know what you're thinking. No, that's number one. Make sure you fill all your votes in. Don't let them slip. And also, if you are determined to get rid of a Labour councillor, look to make sure you don't split the vote. See who's the big chance for second and vote for them. Whoever it is, get the Labour out. More important to get Labour out than put anyone else in. Send that message.
Yeah. What's that called when you vote to keep someone out? That's
tactical voting.
That's it. Tactical voting. Excellent. Right. Well, let's see what happens.
There's tactical voting, but that's when you've made a mint.
I'm gonna have to cut that bit out of that. You've just ruined the whole podcast there with that Christmas cracker joke. Let's catch up next week and we'll dissect what happens over the next couple of days.
Yeah, Monday, maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'm good for that. We'll let the weekend get out of the way. Let's not do the weekend.
Yeah, excellent. Cheers, Foxy.
Thank you, and thanks for everyone for watching. If you've stuck with us to the end, well done, you.
And you got a joke? It's worth sticking around for that.